Welcome back you sodden knobs to another installment in the Fudge Reviews series. Today I will be reviewing the not-so-famous Soviet anti-almost everything tank, and that being the Zut-37. The 37 was introduced back in Update 1.43 to the Soviet line as a 2.7 premium in arcade and RB, and at 3.0 for SB. As I bought this bugger about 3 years ago in combination with the SMK, I don't remember the price. And expect an SMK review in the coming weeks. The Zut-37 fits comfortably where she sits as you have the hull of the T-70 and a weak-ass turret, but you toss the 45mm pop gun out for the Chad all-purpose SH-37mm anti-everything cannon. The gun has 260 RPMs and a 5-shell clip that can contain either the default belt of AP to HE to AP and back to HE, the OFZ belt of solid HE, or the belt you should mainly use, the BT belt, of solid surgical precision vodka injectors. It is recommended to not hold down the trigger like some fucking maniac with terminal brain damage, as the dispersion of the shells is quite high. It is recommended to shoot one at a time, and as your max pan at 10 meters is 71mm, you won't have an issue going through many opponents, aside Matildas or Valentines. Other than that, Panzers are basically like punching bags from the sides of. Post-penetration damage is quite poor as the shell is about as small as your PP. Aiming for critical components like drivers, engines, and gunners is the best way to go. A main thing to note is that this fucker is classed as an AA, but has probably one of the worst turret traverses in the game at 6.1 seconds with my crew, and a 5.2 second with a base crew, and up to 7 degrees with a gunner hooped up on crack. The vertical guidance is also subpar for an AA at 5 seconds base, and 7 at max, making this functionally a horrible AA vehicle, and should be played as a light tank, by flanking and punishing bigger and more retarded enemies. Your armor values are absolute garbage for the most part, but the LFP and UFP are somewhat sturdy at 45mm on the LFP and 35 on the UFP. The LFP has 60mm of effective thickness and the UFP has about 65 in most places, and can bounce British 40mm shells in some areas, but the driver has a big fuck-off bustle that negates some of your armor's relevancy, as if the enemy is smart they'll just shoot that or the turret. Your hull sides are piss poor at 15mm, and your rear is 25. Turret sides and front are 16mm with a weird layout with a mandolet. All in all, don't rely on your armor. And if some person pulls up with a heat slinger, you're dead, as you have hull break. I did some more digging and found out that it was 1,000 golden eagles. For what the Zut brings to the table, I would say that it's not really worth the 1k GE. I feel as if you could wait for a sale, but its fun factor is pretty high, and if it were up to me, I'd place the price at around 500 or 600 GE, and not 1k. The Zut-37 has an engine that chugs vodka made by the forced workers in the gulags, and that cranks out 170 horses, with 7.9 horses per ton, and can make this 7.9-ton Soviet go-kart of hell to 42 km an hour on most surfaces excluding thick mud and sand as usual. Your reverse speed might as well not fucking exist at 5.5 km an hour. Which, as you could imagine, in a combat scenario where you done fuck up, you won't be able to get out of there, as your fastest speed backwards is forwards, so basically play very cautiously and don't play like a dumbass. Your RP and SL earnings are pretty low, as this is only a rank 2 battle rating 2.7 machine, so don't expect to be making
this is a bucket. Dear God.
Bank with it, although it can assist in researching tiers 1 to 3, and is a good addition to the Russian 2.7 or 2.3 lineup. Before I forget, this stupid thing has a max depression of -3 degrees, and an elevation of 77 degrees, so hills will be your worst enemy, so try to stay at relatively close range on flat ground, or if you're ballsy, climb a hill and position on the opposite side of the hill and use your elevation to your advantage. Modifications are unlocked as this is a premium tank, so that's good, I suppose. Crew skills should be dumped into vitality, as you only have 2 Soviet peasants who are willing to crew this monstrosity. Next should be targeting for faster rotation and elevation, leadership, reload and repair. Overall, you need to play this thing very carefully, as you cannot take a hit without blowing the fuck up. I recommend you take a full load of BT shells, as you'll rarely be shooting down planes thanks to this thing's god-awful rotation and elevation. Do I recommend buying this thing?
Yes, but actually no.
It's not a very impressive machine as much as it is a fun vehicle to fuck around in. I would give it an overall Fudge seal of approval of 3 out of 5. It's more of a backup than anything else. Just get 600 more GE and get the T-34 47 1943 for God's sake. I hope you enjoyed this shit show.